Hi, everybody. It's Yvonne and Dexter back again with Freight Broker Chic, another episode. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We just want to thank you guys. We've really been growing, and the organic growing is just really amazing to us. So thank you again. I got Dexter here again today, so we're going to go ahead and give him his applause and his props as we always do. What do we want to talk about today? I don't know about you, but I've got friends on social media who are saying, their cupboards are bare. And I know we may have covered this before, but as someone in logistics or a freight broker, how do you combat that? Like, if you can't get your supply, you can't move your shipment. And so, that's kind of a two-edged sword, where this is what we do to make a living. And so how do we circumvent this, or are there other options? And so that's what he's going to share with us a little bit today.
Well, unfortunately, the supply chain is basically a lot of times controlled by the shipper and capacity. Usually either one of them are not hitting. Either the shipper has more product than they have capacity to move, or vice versa. There's a lot of capacity, but yet the shipper, because of sales for some reason, their sales are down, so they're not moving as much freight as they used to have. So with COVID affecting the world as it has ever since 2020 now, almost 2 years, you have some sectors that, how can I put it? Basically, the need for the need,
supply,
right? It went down on some things, and other things on others. Perfect example: the medical supplies were highly needed, But at a time when the actual lockdowns came in, nobody was moving. So maybe everybody knows that gas is expensive right now, but does anybody remember when COVID first hit, the gas prices went through the floor low to the point where they were saying like oil is about to be worth nothing worldwide. Gas went down very, very low because everybody was on lockdown, nobody was moving.
Right.
So the oil brokers weren't taking any more orders because they didn't know what consumption was going to be because of now the effect that COVID was having on the world. So you had a high demand for medical supplies, respirators, protective gear, PPE, masks, all that kind of stuff, but yet fuel went down. So and the different and so one market that you think that both markets really affect each other, because let's face it, most protective gear is made out of plastics. Plastics are a byproduct of oil production, so that's where plastics come from, is basically oil. So it's one of those things that the world works by you actually being a broker. You have to keep up with world events, what's going on.
So like diversify.
Right, we have to diversify. I mean, you can diversify.
Because I always see this thing where, people are in our groups going, well, I do flatbed, or I do hazmat, or I do, where you and I are constantly saying, where else can we branch out? I mean, what other sectors of the market can we get into?
When you're making a sales phone call, unless you actually know exactly what type of product the company makes, I mean, if you call Caterpillar, you already know they make heavy building equipment or heavy farm equipment. Right, exactly. So you already know that you're going to be using a flatbed or low boys, or maybe shipping stuff in as far as parts and things of that nature on dry vans for production. So you have a kind of an idea, but because you've heard of the company, you know the name. But if you call Hakamoto Industries in San Francisco, you don't know what they're doing unless you look at their website and get an idea of maybe about the products that they might be shipping. And it could be something small, but like I'll tell my students, just because you pick up a blow pop or a pack of bubble gum or M&Ms, well, when those things are coming in, when you get it to the store, you're picking up actually a single packet. But when they're coming into actually distribution centers, they're coming in palletized. They're coming in by the thousands. on pallets, on pallets. So you have, so just because something is small doesn't mean that there isn't a money opportunity to call that particular company. And actually, you know, you might look at Elmer's Glue. Okay, Elmer's Glue is a small little, it could be a decent sized little bottle, but usually most Elmer's Glue bottles are small. But you got to think Elmer's Glue is sold throughout the whole United States and maybe even the world.
And a great point, because in different plants move different product.
Right.
Like the plant, like I had a customer send me an email with this whole list of, you know, we need this moved. Do you have capacity? And, you know, rather than, it was just a little something I thought, rather than hit them back and say, well, what are you moving? I called the origin of the plant where it was picking up. And I called the warehouse and I said, what are you shipping out of there? And they told me, you know, rather than having to call the freight manager and look like I didn't really know much about their company, because I was online trying to research, and they were so vast I couldn't figure out from that particular origin what product of the many they were shipping. So I called the warehouse.
Right. I mean, there's some
and
companies.
Just said, what are you shipping? And I said, are you shipping XYZ out of there? And he goes, no, we're shipping ABZ.
Right.
And I said, oh, okay.
Well, it's just like the company that owns Arm & Hammer baking soda. They also made Trojan condoms. Okay. So you never
you
know.
Would know.
You would know.
Right.
You'll only find these things out once you start making sales phone calls. Right. I ran into a company one time. They actually made styrofoam plates, electronics, and also build submarine parts. Now, why would you think that they were in? How do you get from styrofoam plates to submarine parts? But you know, they had diversified in different fields. So when you're making your sales phone calls, you really never know what type of industry your company may run into, or you might call thinking that you are going to be being used for this particular type of transportation, and they might ask you to do another type of transportation. You know,
just be prepared.
That's what a broker is supposed to be. A broker is supposed to be able to provide all forms of services. It doesn't make a difference if it's flatbed, hazmat, dry vans, containers, tanker, intermodal.
You got to know it all.
Right. You have to know. You have to know. You have to be able to do it all, or be able to get a quote for it. Because if you can't get a quote for that particular service, you're missing out on potential business.
Exactly. You're leaving money on the table.
Right.
And we don't want to do that. Right. You know, we don't get up to leave money on the table. No. So that's why we try to be knowledgeable, or we are knowledgeable in all areas of moving freight. And so again, got to give my props to the master trainer here who educates all of us on the team to help us be able to become knowledgeable, because the more you know, the more you can, and better you can help your customer. We got an email not long ago, speaking of, demand, supply and demand, we got an email not long ago from one of our major customers asking us to advise them on where the market was going. And, and I immediately hit him up and I said, hey, can you believe they're asking, they want our opinion on this?
Yeah,
and so
they didn't like what I said.
Well, it wasn't that they didn't like what you said. We gave them the truth. I mean, we weren't gonna lie and paint a rosy picture. It was pretty bleak out there.
Nothing's getting cheaper.
Right, and everything. Hello. And if you've been to the store lately, you see that nothing is getting cheaper. And of course, as the shipper, they're always trying to cut costs and keep their costs low. Right. We can't always. We're not.
Well, transportation is the one thing that cuts directly into the profitability of manufactured goods.
Correct.
So that's the one reason that companies are always trying to control how much they spend on transportation, because if you make something that's worth $26,000 or $30,000, but every time you ship it out, it takes you $2,000 to actually ship it, then you're losing $2,000. Right, and if you do that, you do 5 loads.
You do enough of those, and you're
right.
Out of
5
business.
loads a week. That's $10,000.
Right.
But they understand that they have to pay this money to get their products from point A to point B to make money, so they have to take the L. Right. But they want to take as small of a L as possible.
But then also you guys, the consumer, for those of you that watch us, you're not in logistics, but we get a lot of people who just watch us because they like the information.
And
that cost
smiling faces.
Huh?
Yeah, I got a smiling faces too.
Oh. Okay, his smiling face.
I was just joking,
But
just joking.
it helps you to understand why your prices are going up. I mean, the end user is always going to be the one to pay the bill. I mean, I wish it wasn't that way, but it is.
Well, it's just
And
like
so,
it's just like the pink tax on women.
Right.
That y'all pay more for deodorant,
Right.
shampoos, anything that has to do anything with feminine
Right.
goods. You're gonna pay more money on because they know women shop more, so they actually put that make it. It might be by only men's deodorant might be 208, your deodorant might be 232,
Right.
but you're always gonna pay more because they know y'all use more, y'all more consume more than men.
Right.
So they're gonna.
right,
So,
certain things a man can live without, a woman's not going to live without.
right. Exactly. Right.
We're just not.
No.
Yeah. So
No.
guys are like, nah, I'll go home and shave my own head, and women are like, no, I
gotta
need
go
that.
to the salon.
I gotta go to the salon, no matter what,
Right.
But yeah, and so unfortunately, this is where we're at. We'll get through this. This is not the first time we've been in a tight situation as a country, as a nation, as a society. We've had pandemics before. We've had inflation before. We've had the economy take a major nosedive before. And look, we're all still here doing what we normally do to get through each day, and this too shall pass. And so we all just have to, again, why you have to be prepared. Number one, be prepared, make a plan, always have a plan, diversify, and utilize all of your avenues for networking.
And make your sales phone calls.
And make your sales phone calls. There you go. Now, he's, as a trainer, that's
Right.
always his open and close.
Nothing works. If you're a broker, if you're a real
Right.
broker, nothing works unless you have a customer.
Unless you have a customer. Absolutely.
Point blank, you got to have a customer to make the magic happen. No customer, no magic.
Absolutely.
All
Anything
right.
else?
No, that's
All
it.
right, that sounds good.
All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you guys again for joining in. Our next training is February 23rd. So I will have that information in the comments. We'd love to see you in our training, and we will see you next time here on Freight Broker Chic. Bye-bye, everybody.